Hello, hello. I want to welcome all of you to another hour of the Universal Consciousness Show. We're going to have some fun again, and we have a wonderful guest with us. It is NORI Love that is returning to the Universal Consciousness Show. We had her on about a year ago, I think, or something like that. And we had so much fun, we got to do it again. Now, she consults and coaches on the mind body connection and assists others stepping into their full potential of both healing and in life in general. Her mission is to help people increase well being on all levels and to help people access their greatest potential in health, wealth, and happiness. Boy, could we ask any more? Probably not. And besides that, she's also an entrepreneur. She is a radio host and a podcast host and a hypnotherapist, a Reiki Master, a double certified Law of Attraction life coach, an author, and a registered nurse. Wow. Nori wears a lot of hats, but you know the saying, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. So, so Nori, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Aage. Thank you, Diana. It's great to be here again.
Hello, Nori, and thank you so much for being here with
Hi.
us today.
Oh, my
Um,
pleasure.
I just want to start with a question. For you being a nurse deeply in the allopathic medical system, how did it all started for you that you stepped out of that time and you are doing what are you doing today?
That's a good question. So, in my early life, in my early childhood, really, all of the things that I'm doing that's not related to allopathic medicine was kind of my gift. It's like I came here with an understanding of everything. I came here with an understanding of how to use energy to heal people and things, creatures. I practiced a form of self hypnosis before I really even knew what it was. So I began studying, as I got a little bit older. By the time I was 16, I was just studying all kinds of metaphysical books and, everything I could get my hands on. And I was actually practicing astral projection. And one night I practiced astral projection and I didn't I didn't execute it properly. I was trying to use my physical body to get back into my body. And I know that sounds weird if you've never practiced it, but it's not something that you do physically. It's something that you do on the energetic level. So I woke up the next morning and I felt like I had been hit by a truck. I was so exhausted and I was so uncomfortable that I took every metaphysical book that I had and I threw them away. And I closed the door to all of these things that I came to know naturally. But when you come to do things like that, it just doesn't go away because you throw the book away. So every time I ran from it, it kept following me, and people and animals would show up, and of course I would be inspired to help them heal, and then I began to crack the door open again and to look at, all of the modalities of healing, except I stayed away from astral projection. And that that rose up um, as a passion for me. But by that time, I was already looking at my life path, in mainstream medicine, and um, circumstance happened, and healings happened when I didn't expect them to happen. So that when I went into medicine, I decided that I would go to the burn and the trauma ICU, and if God or the universe proved to me that all of these things that I came to know or maybe came here with were true, then I would come out of the closet. And amid the electrical interference of the burn and the trauma ICU, because there's so many machines, and being with people who are steeped in Western medicine, and being in an ICU where the pieces are pretty much the most broken than in any other unit. It was shown to me that the gifts that I came here with really are gifts. And it was then that I began to come out of the closet and, use it more and more. I would kind of use it secretly when I was in the hospital setting, but as time has gone by, it's become more accepted. Like Reiki is becoming more accepted in a lot of the mainstream arenas. So that's kind of how it all unfolded for me.
This is very interesting. But tell me, you mentioned the astral projection. So do you mean if somebody has the know-how, knowledge to do that, can it be available to anyone that has this knowledge, or is it something that only some people can do it?
No, it's available to everybody that that chooses to experience it. And I mean, sometimes people experience it and they think, wow, that was a crazy dream, and it really wasn't a dream. So but it's the kind of thing like meditation, the more you practice, the better you get at it. But still, for me, I still have not reopened that door because it was such a painful experience, and it was my fault. But I have not been inspired to go back to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it is kind of a very, it's not understood very well, but it is absolutely there. People can learn how to do that astral projection, and once they get out there, if you go there with absolutely surround yourself with light and have no fear in your mind, there really is nothing to worry about. But then again, there are some tricky things, and I guess you experienced some of that, and it's just coming back.
Yeah, and it was in my own mind. It was because I was, newly practiced at it. So, I was in that place where, I was kind of becoming back conscious again, and I got scared. And if you get scared, you can't, just like in meditation, you can't hold that vibrational frequency. So then I began to try and use what my physical body knows to use, which is physical energy, and then it was just, really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and you probably snapped back in the body, and that hurts.
It did hurt. Seriously hurt. But it started very innocently. I mean, when I was a little girl, I would say goodnight to my parents, and we would agree to meet in the garden in Dreamland, and sometimes I met them in the garden at Dreamland, in Dreamland. And then when other people that I loved so much, went non-physical and I wanted to visit them, I just continued to do that. So that, led me to studying, a little bit about the astral projection. But it's available for anybody who wants to try it, and or learn about it.
Do you mean that you created a place, a dreamland, in your mind where you could meet your parents while you were sleeping?
Well, it sounds like I created a place in my mind, but we would meet in the morning and find out if they felt like they were there too. So on a certain energetic or spiritual realm, we actually did meet somewhere. So whether it was a non-local place, but our consciousness all met in the same place, then yes, I did create that.
This is very fascinating because I don't know if you know Jennifer Fallow. She wrote a book. Yes, she's a wonderful person. She wrote a book for kids that is called The Wishflower Field. And in this book, it's about a girl that has a very, very big fear. And she always went in the night in the Wishflower Field. And they met there. The kids, they met there in the night while they were sleeping, and all their fears were healed. So this is the way to step out of the fears. And I always thought about the human, they can create everything. So if we can create a wish flower field where we all can meet and fix our problems, that would be very,
Yes.
very nice, So I always think about the book from Jennifer Ford. It is a wonderful book. And when I hear you saying like that, it reminds me of this. So I think this is very, very real, that we can
Yes.
create a place where we can go and fix our problems. And if many people will do that, it will be created by the collective consciousness. So we know that we created a God, we created everything. So we can create also a place where everything can be healed, or?
Absolutely. And I love Jennifer, and I had chills when you were talking about the field because, we can actually do that in real life. We can do that in our waking life. Um, it's just that when we're sleeping, our resistance is the lowest. So we come to the planet, whole, perfect, and complete. And that's really our natural state, but things get in the way. Our family culture tells us you're bad, or our family tells us you're sick, or the school tells us you're this, and no, you can't do that. You broke your leg. Of course you can't fix it. Only the doctor can. So, but the truth is, if we remove all of that interference that shows up as resistance, right? Everything that we've learned and taken on as our own, which belong to other people, then we can return to the natural state of healing. So when we are sleeping and we go to the healing field or to the wish field, that really is our energy going back to us being whole, perfect, and complete. So I love everything that you said, and I just adore Jennifer.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
You
you
know,
are.
yeah, go ahead. Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Rick. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, you're basically. I don't think you say it, but you more actually are a healer also, and using Reiki. I know that here in Tucson, there is a hospital here that allows a Reiki. I think there's one Reiki practitioner that comes into the hospital and spend times with the patients that agree to it. And from what I hear is that she's getting some good results with that, and she's becoming very popular at the hospital. And have you seen any of that, Nori? Any or heard any of this anywhere else?
Absolutely. I am seeing it more and more. When I was at University of California in San Diego, that hospital, they're super, progressive, and they had all kinds of alternative medicine options for patients. They weren't necessarily in the hospital, but they were available to people. So they're kind of, pioneering it. But I see it a lot in hospices. I mean, it's talked about. It's widely talked about. Patients can opt to have a Reiki treatment. Families can have a Reiki treatment. And there are some hospitals that are actually trying it in the emergency room, which I think is brilliant. And if I were in the emergency room, if I had a trauma and I were in the emergency room, I would absolutely want somebody, a Reiki, master, to put their hands on me while the Western team was helping put me back together. Um, I've gone into the operating room with patients and done Reiki on them, during a surgery, and their surgery turned out better. They had less emotional trauma and they healed faster. So I think more and more it's becoming accepted into Western medicine. Absolutely.
Wow. But where do you think does the healing energy come from?
Well, the healing energy it depends on your point of view. It could be the universal consciousness energy. It could be God. It could be the quantum field. So, for whatever the person or the patient believes, that's how I reference where the energy comes from. For me, I believe, in a God, and for me, that's where my gifts come from. So I use the word God. But there is universal energy. The energetic field of all that is available to everybody to tap into. But once again, we're usually in our own way. We believe that we can't heal, or we're afraid. So everything is either an expansion or a contraction. Our energy either expands like it does when we're sleeping, and then we can access the healing energy without our mind getting in the way, or our energy can close up to the healing energy that's available. So fear, doubt, worry, undeservingness, shame, guilt, all of those emotions make us close up to the healing energy. And that's why sometimes a healer or a practitioner can come and like soothe that part of the person and help them to open, to release the blocks so that they can access the energy. But the energy is there. If we were here, I could touch your hand, and not even touch your hand, but put your hands in between mine, and you could feel, where it comes from. Through Reiki, I'm attuned to the universal energy, which means that that I'm open to it. I become like a vessel for it to flow through me. It's not me, I believe it's God energy, but I came here to do that, and Reiki was a really good package for me to put it in. Instead of just saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm a healer." Reiki was a socially acceptable modality for me that made sense to package my gift in. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Yes,
absolutely.
yes, of course. In other words, you are aware of God. But the people, when we wake up in the morning, um we never ask ourselves, how if I can walk, or if my heart know how to pump the blood. So we trust something. We always trust something when we wake up every morning and we start our day. We never ask ourselves if my body will know how to behave. So this is the source that created us, that we trust every day. So when we are ill, we should trust the same source that created us and made everything work on perfect in this world. So if you research the whole near-death experience, where the people are coming back from terminal cancer in their body, and they will be healed in few hours. We don't have to wait to die in order to connect to this power, to this inner power of healing that we all have. So we have to trust. I think you are aware of this power.
Absolutely. And I'm aware that, like you said, we wake up in the morning and we don't go, "Oh, what possibility can I open up to today that's going to be remarkable?" We don't do that. We get up, we get coffee, we stumble around, right? But so it is an awareness. But for most people, it takes either trauma or a desire, right? Some people are just naturally curious and they want to connect, so it takes either trauma or a deeply spiritual desire to learn how to open to this. And unfortunately, many people wait until they have a big trauma, and they've been in a car accident and the pieces are just barely put together. And for them, it took me going into their broken body and saying to them, the first thing that I would say to them is, you're in the burn and the trauma. I see you, and you're pretty broken up. But you know what? If you use your mind and your prayers and your energy, you can heal this. And I would say that to them, even though they were unconscious. So for some people, it takes trauma or a big sickness for them to go, okay, I don't care anymore. I've been afraid. I've been petrified that I'm going to die. I don't care. Now I'm going to look at something else. And then they begin to open to the possibility. So I'm here to say, as a healing artist, that you don't have to wait, for a traumatic experience. You don't have to wait until the brink of death. You can begin to open to greater possibilities of healing and happiness and well-being just by choosing, just by saying, okay, what can I expand? Because it's just our perception that's keeping us stuck. It's all of the things that we learned and we took on as beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of us, we get that wake-up call, and the trick is that, are we going to take the phone?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people get the wake-up call, and then they just look at it and says, well, yeah, but I got to go back to work on Monday, and then they slide back in the routine again. We should take the phone.
You should take the phone. And for some people who the phone hasn't rung yet, but they know it's going to ring, they should take that call early, because some people have an inspiration to begin to look at greater healing. And I can't even tell you how many stories were told to me by the family or by the wife of the person who had just died, who said to me, he knew this was going to happen. He knew that he was going to have a motorcycle accident. He had a dream that this was going to happen. So, people have the opportunity to choose something different, and sometimes we don't have to wait until that happens. We can begin to follow our intuition that says, hey, look over here. Hey, go talk to this person. Hey, pick up this book. Hey, research that. It's those little whispers of our intuition that are trying to guide us there before we have the big wake-up call.
Another thing when it comes to Reiki, especially here in Tucson, the hospital that I'm thinking of, they are not offering Reiki, but when people ask for it, they are immediately there and supply it. So maybe that's something that we should remember when we go to, if we have to, God forbid, go to the hospital. Then we can actually ask for it. Tell them, look here, if there's something you have a choice in, you're considering going into the hospital for something, tell them that I'll come to your hospital, but if you also can get me a Reiki practitioner. Now they're going to scramble to find one.
Well, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think they very often will have somebody that has made their service available that could be coming in to help.
Mm-hmm. One thing that is for sure is that all of the hospitals have to ask you a series of questions about what you believe in. That happens every single time. And if you're not awake to tell them, you should have it written down. So one of the things that I always included in my spiel, if I was going to have a surgery, was, please make sure that nobody speaks negatively while I'm under anesthesia, because that was really important to me. So too, when they're asking you those questions, you can, if you're in the emergency room, you could say, yeah, this is my faith. This is what I believe in. By the way, do you have a Reiki practitioner?
Absolutely. That's a good thought, and we should remember that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And now you are also a hypnotherapist.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk a little bit about that, because it is a concept that is also not very well understood. It's been around for a long time, though. There are hieroglyphs in Egypt that talks about actually that something that could be construed to be hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been around for probably 3,000 to 5,000 years, as we know of. And boy, oh boy, that has some longevity to it. And you've been doing a lot with this. And I know some of the things that you've done that is amazing. So maybe you could talk a little about that.
Absolutely. And, if you consider that all of the answers reside within us, right? So, like I said before, we came to the planet whole, perfect, and complete, but we took on all of these things that make us contract and close up, and a lot of them are in our thought forms. So we can take on. So the little girl's father says, you are fat. And that goes into her subconscious mind, and bam, the trap door closes. From that moment on, that thought is alive in her subconscious mind. So when she's, 12, 14, 16, 20, 30 years old, that program is telling her, you're fat, and we follow that program. So we do everything to make that happen.
Yeah.
So with hypnosis, we go back in and we find, so we've heard about limiting beliefs. So that's the belief that made everything go haywire. So that limiting belief where her father said, you're fat, became a program that began running, and then she played it out through her lifetime. So what we do is quiet the mind, right? Soothe the pain, right? The sting of her father saying you're fat, soothe all of the years of her friends or people she didn't know making fun of her because she was, a different body shape. Soothe all of that and go into the place where there's no resistance or very little resistance. Like Diana and I were talking about, when we're sleeping, we don't have resistance. We go in there and we gently pry open that trap door and go, look at this. This isn't even yours. Do you want to keep this? Or do you want to change it? And everybody chooses to change it. So we take that limiting belief out and we put the truth of who she came to be, the vision of her, healthy and happy and comfortable in her body, no matter what that looks like, in there. And then that program takes over for the rest of her life.
Yeah. And it is really so simple.
Wow.
Because your subconscious mind, once it is, when your conscious mind is out of the way, you can talk to the subconscious mind, and whatever negative statements and subconscious mind programs that are down there, you can overlay and neutralize them. So that goes for, all the way to stop smoking and time regressions. And I see that we're getting down to the bottom of the hour here. So we need to take a 3 to 4 minute break to pay some bills. And let's come back after that, Nori, and then maybe talk a little more about hypnosis and time regressions possibly, and stop smoking and some of the other amazing things that can be done.
Absolutely. Let's go back with smoking. That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, we're ready for the break. So stay with us here on the Universal Consciousness Show.
There are days that the red pill is bitter in my stomach, but I can't get it back out. I think because I have to. I speak because I have no choice. I walk through this dark age we're in with open eyes. Listen to Open Eyes on latenightinthemidlands.com. And together, maybe we won't stumble and fall.
Data. The sensors can't penetrate the planet's ionosphere. There's too much interference. Can you find a way to scan for life forms?
I would be happy to, sir. I just love scanning for life forms. Life forms. You tiny little life forms. You precious little life forms. Where are you?
Even the ETs know this is the place to be. LNM Radio Network.
You can listen to the LNM Radio Network 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through the Paranormal Radio app. Available from LNMRadioNetwork.com or TalkStreamLive.com on both Android and Apple. Our call to listen line is open 24/7. Dial 701-719-9704 so you can listen on the go.
Ever wanted to be sure your robot slave was behaving? Is Echo getting out of control and meeting with Alexa when you're not around? You need RoboGrog. RoboGrog is the new product from Snooze You Lose, the company that also brought you the fine products of Flog a Horse and Calm You Down Now. RoboGrog will put your robotic minions to sleep, bringing their AI a sense of peace and comfort. It does this by sending bolts of electricity straight where the sun doesn't shine. Get RoboGrog today at any fine retailer and set yourself free from the devices that bind you.
You can't just throw someone into prison and silence their warning because you don't agree with them. You don't have to like my methods or what I stand for. Silencing me won't make the problem go away. It will just whittle away at the ability of people to be ready for the real threats. And when the worst happens, and it will, maybe you can take comfort in protecting the people from a dangerous radical who wanted to tell them the truth.
Tired of searching for great talk and great information? Look no more. LNM Radio Network, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Back home, there's a growing pro-Earth movement. Rumors of hate groups targeting aliens. And on all sides, the fanatics think that society has to be protected against anyone who's different. I'm starting to wonder if what we just saw is a preview of things to come.
No, I can't believe they'd be that foolish. Santayana. Those who do not remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Hello, and we are back, and I got an echo here. Let me see if I can get rid of my echo. Here, echo is gone. Anyway, we're talking with Nori Love, and we were talking about hypnosis. And I want to know a little more about what can be done with hypnosis when it comes to simple thing like quit smoking. Let's maybe touch on that first, and then...
Okay. I just wanted to backtrack, Aage, because before you said that hypnosis can be so simple when we were talking about the little girl who took on the "you are fat" message. Hypnosis can be so simple, but you know what the hard part is? The hard part is the resistance and the self-talk that is so debilitating that we take on that actually becomes our habit. So, we start going in circles about that thing, right? That one thing that we want to change, And, we're talking to ourselves in the car. Oh, you're so fat. I can't believe how tight your pants are. Or you're such a loser. You can't quit smoking. And, that self-talk that we take on, that's the hard part. That's the part that hurts, and once we get that little message that goes, hey, you can try something else, then it becomes easy. But it's the rut that we get stuck in. It's the habit of the lack of self-love, right? Because we're beating ourselves up for that thing that we don't want to do, but we keep doing. That's the hard part. Getting to actually doing it and doing the hypnosis is the easy part. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the habit is the hard part.
Yeah, but let's look at smoking. Okay, I tried to smoke a cigarette when I was 12, and it was the most uncomfortable, stinky, painful thing that I ever tried to do. I mean, it hurt, it made me cough, it gave me bad breath. So when we choose to take on smoking, we are actually going against the natural desire of our body, but other things outweigh it, right? It's social. Our friends are doing it. I mean, back in the day, back in my mother's day, it was very cool to smoke cigarettes. It's not so cool now, but you go against your natural desire to do that. So you actually, or maybe you think, wow, if I smoke cigarettes, I'll eat less, right? Everybody takes on a reason for smoking, and that's the limiting choice that we make. And then, bam, that limiting choice is inside our subconscious mind, and then the trap door shuts. So that program keeps playing out, even when we get to the point when we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I don't have a lighter, and you're fumbling for cigarettes, or you're trying to spray, cologne on you because you have to go back into the office, and you're out, slamming down a cigarette, and, all of the reasons that you want to quit smoking. But that choice, that limiting choice, is locked in your subconscious mind. So it's even harder.
Yeah, when it really comes down to it, starting smoking is one of the most stupidest things we probably can do. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it, actually.
It doesn't make good sense on a lot of levels, but I agree with you.
It's totally against what nature have allowed for your body to excel in. I can't think of anything really positive about it. Maybe, yeah, if I thought long enough, maybe I could come up with something, but I don't know.
Right, but let's look at the reasons people smoke, right? So for social reasons, okay, yeah. I know in the hospital, all of the nurses that smoked would all go out and have a cigarette at the same time. So it was social. It makes you breathe. It makes you change your breathing pattern. It may make you eat less, but there are better things for you if you just choose them, right? You can choose to be social and not put smoke in your lungs. There's a way to do that. You can choose to learn how to do certain breathing patterns that make you feel so good. That doesn't include putting smoke in your lungs. And there are other things that you can choose that feel so much better than the effects of cigarettes for your weight. Right? It's just that the person was desperate for a moment or coerced by a situation that seemed, exciting or like it had possibilities for them. And then they made the choice and bam, the trap door shut. But with hypnosis, you can gently and lovingly open the trap door and then make another decision.
Yeah.
But did you met some women that they give up smoking when they knew that they were pregnant?
Yes.
So that means that it's something there within us, because that was something that happened to me. I was a real smoker, so I smoked 2 package cigarettes per day. And as I knew, yes, as I knew that as my doctor told me that I'm pregnant, I give it up smoking in 1 day.
Yes,
it was not an issue to me. So I think that is something within us that can be activated at any moment. So you don't need to get pregnant to do that.
Right. So the desire, right? Your desire to give your child, right, the best environment to grow in suddenly way outweighed any of the benefits that you got from smoking. And that's the same thing that can happen in hypnosis. We can go back in and the person can find a reason, something that makes sense to them, something that feels good to them, that way outweighs their desire to smoke. And then they get to see the other possibilities, and then they get to practice it and live it. So that's a great example, Diana. Thank you. Really good.
Yeah, that's priorities, and people with willpower and credibility and character, they're able to do that.
Okay, so wait. So I have I have to stop you on that one. Okay, because you talked about willpower, credibility, and character. So that just like shamed a whole bunch of people, because it's really not about that. You can have all those characteristics, and it has nothing to do with you smoking. It has to do with you smoking just means that you took on a limiting behavior and it got locked in your subconscious mind. And and you can open it back up. Does it take some willpower to carry it out? Absolutely. It takes willpower to choose to not want to smoke anymore. But hypnosis makes it so much easier, because you're not like, jumping up and down, banging on the trap door saying, I'm not going to smoke, when, that smoking habit is locked in there. It's okay, let's go in, let's pry the door open, let's exchange that for something else that I believe that's better. So I don't want there to be any judgment about smoking. That's probably what I'm saying.
I totally agree with you. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was a little bit off the side on my part.
If we could get deeper in this issue, so we are the creators of our reality. This is already accepted by noetic science like epigenetics, neuroscience, quantum medicine, and many others. So our mental programs are running always in our subconsciousness and manipulate our actions. So to every given situation we came through, there is a running mental program that makes us act in a certain way. Yes. So the question is, where is our power, our own power, in all these tapestries? So how can I take my power back?
So it depends on how buried. It depends on how buried your power is. Because if there's something that you're playing out in your life that doesn't feel good to you, and if I can bring you back to that state, right? If I can bring you back to the feeling place where in every fiber of your being, where in every cell of your body, where in your spirit that you are whole, perfect, and complete, you won't want to make those choices anymore. So it depends on how buried it is. So is there a lot of trauma on top of it? Is there a lot of drama on top of it? Is there a lot of, enforced programming on top of it? It's in there. It just depends on how deeply it's buried.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You being whole, perfect, and complete, you being in alignment with your true essence, body, mind, spirit, and soul, that's where your power is. If you call that connected to God, the universe, all that is, it's all the same thing. It's just what makes sense to you. That's where your power is. And it's just a matter of putting the pieces into place to get aligned to it or uncovering it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Could we take it one step further? I know that there is a concept also that is not very well understood within hypnosis, and that is time regressions. Mm-hmm. We can go back into our recent past find something that we forgot or looking for in the subconscious, and it even goes way outside of what people think is possible, and that is to time regress someone back to a time before they were actually born.
Yes. So people go back for many reasons. Some people go back because they want to figure something out. Some people go back because they have a feeling that something that's playing out in their life is related to another time. Some people go back to become empowered. But everybody that I've taken back has been surprised at where they've gone. So, if you think, I haven't had a past life, you might come out of hypnosis being a little bit surprised. One of my favorite things to do is forward life progressions. And I have stories, I'm very protective of my clients, so I don't share a lot of information, because it's so private and it's so intimate. But I've had people go, to their galactic home planet and meet with people and, become activated or be activated to expand into ascension time. I mean, it's amazing. I know that's a little bit out there for some people, but it was very powerful for the people who experienced it. Or we could go back and meet our future self. So let's say that you want to quit smoking. And Aage, you put me under hypnosis, and I go back and I meet NORI 10 years from now. And you take me through the hypnosis and you ask me, what does NORI look like and what is she doing and what is she wearing? And, in going through that process, I recognize that she's impeccably healthy and vibrant and beautiful. And I recognize that she doesn't smoke.
Mm-hmm.
And I can receive a gift from her, or I can lock it in through a process that we do in hypnosis that anchors in that non-smoking part of future NORI. And then I bring that back into my life now, and I don't smoke. That really happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And actually, you mentioned that it's a little bit out there, but if we're talking about quantum mechanics, the past, present, and the future is all not locked up, but it is there in that super creation outside of the physical. We can actually go there and have a look at our past and the future. So yes, it is not that far out of it. As long as we start looking outside of the physical, it is all there for us to have a look at.
Right. Absolutely. And you can go back and heal things in the past. Like if somebody had a traumatic event, we would take time to build in safety anchors, where they feel empowered and safe and in charge of their life. And then we can go back to right before that event happens. And we can do like a freeze frame, and then they can step in as who they are now and change it. And in making the choice to change it on the quantum level, on the energetic level, it changes things in the body. This is how the epigenetics works, because all of the trauma has a certain frequency. If it was a traumatic experience, the traumatic experience has a frequency that's embedded in our body somewhere or in our energetic field, likely both. So when we go back in and through beautiful imagination and imagery, we go back in and we isolate that energy, and the person makes the decision that changes the frequency. They step in and they change the frequency. So on an energetic and a frequency and a vibrational level, there's a whole lot happening. But the physical mind, right, the mind that we're dealing with in our waking life, it's made easy for them by a lovely journey, a journey to the beach, a journey with imagery and symbols and colors. But it's way more than what it seems like. And the way that they are freed from the pain or the trauma or the illness is what they carry with them. And it's the proof. It's the absolute proof.
Yeah.
But this topic of meeting our future us, it's always carrying me away, because I had the experience of meeting my future me after I did a reconnection from Dr. Eric Pearl. And my question is always, so I felt the future me contacted me and wanted to fix the error from the past. But what I didn't understand, and maybe you can explain it to me, did a future me always already experienced this timeline, or it was only in a parallel universe, in a parallel timeline? So it's so difficult to express, because I experienced this, so it's so difficult to put it in words. Did a future me already experience my present life, or it was only in a parallel dimension?
Well, I think wherever you are or wherever you went in the future, you went through the present in order to get there. So you had to have experienced what you had at this moment. It could have spread into different timelines from now on, but I think you had to experience the present in order to have a place in the future.
Well, and if the past, present, and the future are all now, it's just what we're creating in this moment. So the answer would be yes and no.
Yes, because according to some theories, the past, present, and future, they are happening simultaneously in the same time. So there is no time. The time doesn't exist. It is only a creation on the earth. So that means that my past tense and my present tense, my future tense are always happening the same time. So where is the future me? I felt it. So the future me connected me, and I felt this as a very, very pleasant presence. I didn't have a fear about it. I felt it. So but I was asking me, where are you? Are you here? Are you in the future? Are you in the past? So this is also very, very mind-blowing.
I like that.
I see we only have about 2.5 minutes left of the show here. I want to see that, Nori, could you tell people a little bit about, you are doing a seminar, an internet seminar in January. Also tell people where they can get a hold of you to talk more about this.
Okay, so what is happening in January is the body, mind, spirit, and soul fusion, the 12-week body transformation self-mastery class. So that's about body transformation, whether you want to change the shape of your body, the weight of your body, the health of your body, anything about your physicality that's calling you to a higher calling, then you might want to look into the 12-week mastery class with me. It's about body, mind, spirit, and soul, and blending them and finding the balance, because that's, like we've been talking about, that's where everything happens. That's where your healing happens. That's where your health happens. That's where your wealth happens. That's where the relationship happens. That's where everything happens. So there's a Body, Mind, Spirit, and Soul Fusion self-mastery page on Facebook. You can follow me on Coaching with Love or Hypnotherapy with Love on Facebook, or you can contact me at everythingconscious.com, and that's a website, and there's a contact page there, so you can send me a contact note there, and I can tell you more about it.
Okay.
Everythingconscious.com, all one word.
Yeah, and you're also on Facebook at, what is it, Hypnotherapy with Love and Coaching with Love?
And NORI Love.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you have a wonderful name.
Aw, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I was told by, when I was working in the hospital setting, a doctor from India came up to me and he said, "Do you know what NORI means?" And I was like, "No." He goes, "It means bringer of light." And I was I know, I was so happy when he told me that.
That is in addition to love.
I love it. Exactly. Aw, thank you. Thank you, guys. It's just so great.
That's great. Well, we are getting down to towards the end here. Any last message, if you could talk to the whole world, Nori, right now, what would you tell them?
You are whole, perfect, and complete right here, right now, and you are free to experience that.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely.
We'll claim it.
Yes.
All right. Well, we are here, and we are now down to the end. So, we are going to, I already talked to Nori about this. We're going to do, there's so much more to talk about. We didn't get it all done. So we're going to do one of these maybe in another month or two. And then you're going to get to hear more of Nori. Until then, Next week, we'll be here again with another guest. So stay with us then and now and in the future. In the meantime, be good to each other.